Okay, well, welcome online students. I think all of you have joined. Yes or no? Because I cannot see the comments today. Online students, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Yes, I got it. Okay, what we were doing yesterday, I think we were on the French geographers. I think we have completed that. Have we completed that? Ishan, can you just give me the status of that? Have we completed it? Yes, okay, good. So French geographers are done. So today we will do some German geographer, although we have talked about Ritter and Alfred and Alexander von Humboldt a lot yesterday. But apart from that, we need to talk to the other geographers also. Again, we'll talk about the German geographers as well. This is now the story changes. Why? Because when we are talking about a German geographer here, we're talking about post-Ritter era. What do you understand by post-Ritter? So, as I told you, there were two geographers, Alexander von Humboldt and Karl Ritter. They both led the foundation. They both led the foundation of the geography. They both led the foundation of the modern geography, classical modern geography. But later on, Karl के बाद क्या हुआ? What happened after the Karl Ritter? How Karl Ritter behaved? After Karl Ritter, what happened? So Karl Ritter was more of what? He was a regional geographer. He emphasized on regional geography, whereas Alexander von Humboldt, he emphasized on the systematic geography. what happened after these two geographers? In दोनों के बाद क्या हुआ? Therein, there was a period wherein nothing changed. Nothing changed means, because आपको मैंने पहले भी बताया था that ये वाला पीरियड कैसा था जहां पे ज्योग्राफी इवॉल्व हो रहा था. ज्योग्राफी अभी एक स्पेशल डिसिप्लिन, एक सेपरेट डिसिप्लिन में नहीं बना था. इट वाज स्टिल developed on the different parameters. It was getting more systematic. People were getting to know this discipline. So and people have different meanings of the geography itself. अगर आप किसी से पूछेंगे geography का आपके लिए क्या मतलब है, so there was no uniformity in the definition of the geography also. So in that sense, geography was still in the building stage after the Karl Ritter and Alexander von Humboldt. ठीक है, तो एक सेपरेट डिसिप्लिन नहीं बना था, तो इसको इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज करने के लिए बहुत टाइम लगा. एंड द फर्स्ट कंट्री विच स्टार्टेड मेकिंग सम एफर्ट्स, दे स्टार्टेड स्ट्राइविंग फॉर सम for the placement of this subject as something, because they wanted to introduce it in a lot of universities. So the first country which took steps in order to give some sort of recognition to the subject was Persia, right? So Prussia, which you mean Germany at that point of time, which means what? Germany. So basically they gave what? They gave some sort of institutionalization. It was created as institutional discipline at that point of time, right? So when you are introducing the subject as a subject in some university, in itself, it means that you are giving the authority, you are giving the recognition to that subject. ठीक है, ये समझना आपके लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि कार्ल रिटर और अलेक्जेंडर वॉन हम्बोल्ट के बाद क्या हुआ. इमीडिएटली कल हमने पढ़ा था अलेक्जेंडर और कार्ल हम्बोल्ट के बाद, बिकॉज दे डाइड इन द सेम ईयर, रिमेंबर 1859. They both died in the same year, Alexander von Humboldt and Karl Ritter. And after that, there was a period which you call it as wherein the theory of Darwin came. What is the theory? The theory of evolution by Darwin. And this theory of evolution by Darwin, you also call it as Darwinism, took a prominent place in this at this point of time. So the contribution after Karl Ritter and Alexander von Humboldt should also be given to the Darwin, because Darwin also had a huge role to play at that point of time, because that the organisms were metamorphically being compared to the state, and when they are compared to the state, so that means the kind of the theory that is applied on the organism, because they also strive for their space. There is a survival of the fittest, there is evolution which goes on. Similarly, that kind of evolution we also find in the state. Therefore, this particular concept has been further enriched, further developed by the Ratzel. Ratzel was also a German. We'll talk about Ratzel, but in the later part of it. Okay? So this is how the situation after the Karl Ritter and Alexander von Humboldt. I hope that you have understood the initial part of the modern geography of Germany. Have you understood this? कुछ आइडिया मिला आपको क्या था? अब आप देखिए, कोई भी आप सब्जेक्ट को डिसिप्लिन में ला रहे हैं, डेवलप कर रहे हैं, समझ रहे हैं, and all of a sudden then two people who are being the foundation, being the pillar of this subject, they all of a sudden are no more. So what will happen? There will still lot of speculation, lot of about the subject, about the different aspects of it, and people will try to derive it in their own way, through their own methodologies, right? Through their own understanding, they will try to give their inputs. So when they are giving a lot of inputs from their side, it will not at all be an uniformity. Therefore, we have to develop develop the subject so that there should be a uniformity in it. Okay? So write down. सबसे पहले लिखेंगे modern geography of Germany. Write on the heading modern geography of Germany. Write on the heading modern geography of Germany. लिखिए. The post-Mediterranean period in Germany, the post-Mediterranean period of Germany, the post-Mediterranean period of Germany felt the need of felt the need of professionally accepted paradigm. Professionally accepted paradigm to serve as a guide, to serve as a guide, to serve as a guide to the study of geography. To the study of geography. Full stop. There was no clear-cut definition. Full stop. Next point. There was no clear-cut definition, comma, no clear-cut definition, don't put comma, which could not be accepted uniformly, which could not be accepted uniformly, or which could not be uniformly accepted, full stop. Those who taught geography, were also trained in history. Those who taught geography were also trained in history, comma, geology. Those who taught geography were also trained in history, comma, geology, comma, botany, comma, zoology, comma, mathematics, comma, engineering, full stop. None of them were professional geographers. None of them were professional geographers. Full stop. Comma. As a result of which, each one of them defined geography. As a result of which, each one of them defined geography as a result of which each one of them defined geography in different ways. In different ways. Full stop. There was no unanimity. Unanimity means similarity. अगर आप same definition बोल रहे हैं, मैं same definition बोल रही हूँ, that means we are agreeing on the same definition. If I say the sun rises in the east, that is what we all are agreeing to it. So when we all are agreeing to something, we call it as unanimity. Write down. There was no unanimity among scholars. There was no unanimity among scholars. There was no unanimity among scholars with regard to the definition, comma, purpose, and methodology of geography. And methodology of geography. And this made professionalism in academy a necessity. Done? Write down next, new dimension. This is the modern geography of Germany which is starting. Now write down now new dimension. Okay. New dimension, write down. In the absence of any guidelines regarding the field of geography, in the absence of any guidelines regarding regarding the field of geography, each tried to provide a definition of geography, each tried to provide, each tried to provide a definition in geography. Each tried to provide a definition in geography that would give it a unity, that would give it a unity and would establish its position and would establish its position among various disciplines. Would establish its position among various disciplines. Write down. After the death of Ritter, write down. After the death of Ritter, there was no professor of geography. There was no professor of geography in any German university. In any German university, and rapid subsequent growth was largely the work which was given to historical geographers. Full stop. Next one, those who followed Ritter, मतलब अगर रिटर को फॉलो भी कर रहे थे तो व्हाट दे वर डूइंग, रिटर का मेन थिंग क्या था, रिटर ने एक थ्योरी बनाया था wherein he is saying that human and environment have reciprocal relationship. This is what he has said. Human and environment has reciprocal relationship. Reciprocal relationship का मतलब है that आप जो भी एनवायरमेंट के लिए कर रहे हैं, एनवायरमेंट आपके लिए, मतलब आप एनवायरमेंट को चेंज कर रहे हैं, आप एनवायरमेंट भी आपको चेंज कर रहा है. दैट इज व्हाट रेसिप्रोकल रिलेशनशिप इज. बट जो नेक्स्ट इनके बाद आए, व्हाट दे वर डूइंग, दे वर मेयरली स्टडिंग द लैंडफॉर्म्स विदाउट इन्वॉल्विंग ह्यूमंस इन दैट. They were merely studying the landforms without involving humans in that. और अगर आप humans को ही involve नहीं करोगे तो रिटर का जो आइडियोलॉजी था उस पर तो आप नहीं वर्क कर रहे हैं ना, यू आर जस्ट एस्टैब्लिशिंग समथिंग एल्स. इसको हम बोलते हैं जियोलॉजिस्ट, वेयर यू आर मेनली स्टडिंग द लैंडफॉर्म्स, माउंटेन्स एक्सेट्रा और स्क्रस्ट. दिस इज नोन एज जियोलॉजिस्ट. So people who after Ritter were not studying the human involvement in the discipline, they were reading it without human, right? So write down, those who followed Ritter were trained as geologists. Those who followed Ritter were trained as geologists and tended to specialize in non-human features and tended to specialize in the study of non-human features of the earth. For example, physical geography. For example, physical geography. Header next. The emergence of new geography in Germany. The emergence of new geography in Germany. Emergence of new geography in Germany started with emergence of new geography in Germany appears to have been primarily due to, so started with, or you can also write appears to have been primarily due to the work of, it should be due to the work of Peschel. Peschel, the full name of him is Oscar Peschel. His final emergence of new geography in Germany started with Oscar Peschel, Richthofen, R. C. Richthofen. Next, Ratzel, Penck. Ratzel Penck आपने बहुत बार पढ़ा है. Do you remember the Davis and Penck theory? Penck and Albert Hattner. So these are the prominent, please underline all of these scholars, geographers who have given immense contribution in the modern geography of Germany. Right? Because what they have contributed, they have done the systematic studies. And who was the propounder of systematic studies? Even the Alexander von Humboldt has also given the focus on systematic studies. And also they did also the same. They also focused on the systematic studies, right on. There are geographers trained in Darwinian tradition. Geographers trained in Darwinian tradition. Geographers trained in Darwinian tradition made huge contribution to the systematic studies. Made huge contribution in the systematic studies in the late 19th century. In the late 19th century. इसका सबसे पहला एग्जाम्पल है ऑस्कर पेस्चल. सबसे बड़ा एग्जाम्पल कौन है इसका? ऑस्कर पेस्चल. What was the contribution of Oscar Peschel? And who was he? Who was Oscar Peschel? Write down. देखिए, Oscar Peschel was a geographer who has given a comparative geography. He has given the contribution in comparative geography. What do you understand by the meaning of the comparative modern geography? So he is the one who has given a different field altogether, जिसको हम बोलते हैं comparative modern geography. What he has other contribution which has been done by him, he has given a new outlook, a new dimension and a new orientation to the subject. क्या दिया इन्होंने? एक new dimension दिया, एक new outlook दिया और paradigm दिया to the subject. ठीक है? Write down next. Oscar, I'm making you write down. Oscar Peschel initiated a movement. Oscar Peschel initiated a movement which sought to give contemporary German geographer a new outlook, orientation and dimension that was opposed to the geographic heritage founded by that was opposed to the geographic heritage founded by Humboldt and Ritter. Humboldt and Ritter, full stop. Write down. Pestal geography was to be a systematic. Pestal geography is considered to be more systematic, comma, empirical science. Pestal geography is considered to be more systematic, comma, empirical science. Systematic, comma, empirical science, comma, its method, comma, observation, its method, comma, observation, comma, drawing induction from the observations. Induction from the observations. Add on more few points. He was appointed as the professor at as a professor at University of Leipzig. Leipzig is a place in Germany. He was appointed as the professor at University of Leipzig in 1871. He was, next point, he was the editor of Das Ausland. He was the editor of Das Ausland. I don't DAS, Das Ausland. He was the editor of Das Ausland. Put it in single inverted commas or double inverted commas. What is this? This is a periodical in which he wrote about. It was a periodical, it was an article in which he wrote about the geography of foreign countries. It was a periodical in which articles about geography of different foreign countries are written. Full stop. He developed comparative geography. This point has already been written. Okay, very important point. Next point. In his studies of landform and physical geography, in his study of landforms and physical geography, comma, he ignored the man as important component of the component of the discipline. Important component of the discipline. Now you can talk about a very little explanation I would give about the Richthofen. Who was a Richthofen? He was a scholar who was extremely popular for his writing on China. He was the one who explored the China in a very extensive manner. He talked about its landforms, especially the North China. He talked about its landforms, its rivers, etc. And there is a detailed literature of it, where in the geographical literature, if we have to study anyone, so we study this person whose name is Richthofen, right? So he has given a detailed account of different landforms, different rivers, places. In fact, he has also gone the other places also, like Alps, etc. He has also discovered about all these places, but mainly he is known for the detailed, extensive account which he has prepared on China. Okay, so write down. His full name was Ferdinand von Richthofen. Ferdinand von Richthofen. Write down. Ferdinand von Richthofen was one of the Ferdinand von Richthofen is known for his valuable work, is known for his valuable work on China, which was published in 5 volumes. Full stop. This work contained the large atlas of China. This work, full stop. This work contains the large atlas of China. Full stop. The work on China was a landmark in the work of China was landmark in the study of geographical literature. The work of, write down, the work on China was a landmark in the study of geographical literature. Write down this point. The work on China was a landmark in the study of contemporary geographical literature. First off, it is based on the personal experiences. It is based on the personal experiences and observations and observation full stop. The work deals with the structure and physiography of the work deals with the structure and physiography of the work deals with structure and physiography of the work deals with structure and physiography of, write down, mountains of Central Asia, and their influence on outward migration of people and their influence on outward migration of people. That's all. Please read all this. If you have any doubt, let me know. Then we'll start with Ratzel. Ratzel is very prominent in the modern geography. Please write it down. I'm giving you 2 minutes. Anything that you have to ask from this, you can easily ask. Done. Shall we move to the next part? Radzel. Okay. Moving to the next part, which is a Frederick Radzel. Let's talk about him. Who is Frederick Radzel? What he did? I told you yesterday also, I have introduced Radzel to you, wherein we were doing the theory of Darwin. I have told you this theory of evolution, which has been given by Darwin, which we also call it as Darwinism, is the one which influenced Radzel a lot. So Radzel came from a very different background. His background was not geography. He has done a lot of different studies in zoology and other disciplines, but ultimately he was quite attracted to the theory of the Darwin, and in a later part of it, he applied this in the concepts of geography, and this become very highly popularized. So the point is that this person, Radzel, has tried to taken the concept of Darwin. He was quite inspired by the two concepts of Darwin, which was the selection and survival. So those points quite fascinated him, and then he was quite influenced to put them in the geography. So your modern geography's first encounter with structural explanation. In fact, he has also talked about social morphology. He has given very prominent, very important book with the name of Anthropogeography. He has given the two volumes. One volume is Anthropogeography, volume 1 and volume 2. Volume 1 is more popular than the volume 2. And what has he explained in both of them? We will give a very short description about that too. A very quite, very small detail I'll give you on these two volumes. Okay. So write down Frederick Radzel. First, we will introduce him and then we'll further develop the understanding. Write down modern geography's first encounter. Modern geography's first encounter with structural explanation. With structural explanation, begin with the debate between Frederick Radzel, and Emile Durkheim. He is Emile Durkheim. It started with a debate between the Frederick Radzel and the Emile Durkheim. The modern geography's first encounter with the structural explanation began with the debate between Frederick Radzel and Emile Durkheim. At the end of 19th century. At the end of 19th century. Madam, Durkheim attempted to assimilate Durkheim. Now, this is your question. This is your, in fact, assignment also. You have to give the detailed assignment. I mean, you have to give the understanding of how the Emile Durkheim. What was the debate? Okay, let's keep it simple. Write down. What was the debate between Emile Durkheim and Frederick Radzel? Frederick Radzel. So stop. Highlight the similarities. Of the concepts between both. Highlight the concepts. Highlight the similarities between the concepts. Write down. Click here. Durkheim attempted to assimilate human geography. Durkheim tried to assimilate human geography into, he tried to assimilate human geography into, Durkheim tried to assimilate human geography into his conception of morphology social. Morphology, पहले आप morphology लिखेंगे, into his morphology social. Into his morphology social. While Ratzel provided the guidelines for comparative systematic study of, while Ratzel provided the comparative systematic study of, he provided the guidelines for the comparative systematic study of human geography. Full stop. Ratzel, he was a great single contributor, write down. Ratzel was great, single contributor Ratzel was great single contributor to the study of to the development of geography of human. He was a great single contributor to the development of geography of human. Full stop. Next point. He made significant contribution to ethnography. Next point, he made single contribution to ethnography. He made significant contribution to ethnography. So the first point is he was a great significant contributor to the development of study. He was a great contributor to the development of human geography. Okay. He made significant contribution. First, he was a greatest single contributor to the development of geography of human, and he made a significant contribution to ethnography. Next point, he came to geography from the quite different background. He came to geography from a quite different background, full stop. As he has been working in geology, zoology, as he has been working in geology, zoology, and comparative anatomy, full stop. Madam, it was in Munich that Ratzel first began to publish. It was in Munich that Ratzel first began to publish his ideas. Ratzel first began to publish his ideas concerning the study of that Ratzel first began to publish his ideas concerning the study of systematic human geography. Full stop. The first volume of this main work, was published in 1882. Again, I am repeating, it was in Munich that Russell first began to publish his ideas concerning that Russell began to publish his ideas concerning the study of systematic human geography. Full stop. The first volume of his main work was published in 1882. It was entitled Anthropogeography. Yesterday we have written about anthropogeography. Full stop. Ratzel, full stop at down. Ratzel saw humans as an end product of evolution. Ratzel saw humans as the end product of evolution, comma, an evolution in which mainspring was selection of types. Right on. Whereas Ritter wrote of how the concepts were different, how the thinking process were different of Ritter and Ratzel, right down. Whereas Ritter wrote of the reciprocal relationship, where Ritter wrote of the reciprocal relationship of human and nature. Full stop. Ratzel tended to see humans as a product of his environment. Ratzel tended to see humans as a product of his environment, molded by physical forces that surround him. Right? Next point. Ratzel is also called the founder of political geography. He's also considered as the founder of political geography. Why? Why he is considered as the founder of political geography, right now? And is often recognized as founder of modern political geography, right now. It was he who brought a radical change. It was he who brought a radical change in political geographical thinking. How he did that? In 1897, Ratzel published. Ratzel published a book on political geography. जब आपने एक बुक पब्लिश कर दिया पॉलिटिकल ज्योग्राफी पे, इसका क्या मतलब है? व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय दैट? So basically, if you have published a book on the political geography, it means that you have to do what? You must be having some concept regarding it. So Ratzel के पास क्या concept था? He took this concept from Darwin, and Darwin stated what? That organisms will evolve. They will always evolve. Similarly, if you're talking about a state, states are having people. So he said the more competitive, the people who are more ambitious, they have the right to expand, and only the superior races. In fact, he was also implicitly favoring the superior races. The superior races will expand, and hence they will take over the inferior set of the people. So this was the whole idea, and this idea matches this idea in align with the Hitler. Hitler also was of the same viewpoint. So write down. In 1897, Ratzel published his work on political geography. On political geography, full stop. This shaped the old topic. This shaped the old topic which he has introduced in. It shaped the old topic which he has introduced in anthropogeography. In anthropogeography. Full stop. He discusses the state as organism. State को क्या consider किया? As an organism. He discussed or he stated the state as organism. State को बोला ये किसकी तरह act करते हैं? Organism की तरह. So he stated the state as an organism attached to the land, comma, attached to the land, comma, a piece of humanity, a piece of humanity, full stop. Ratzel, like many other scholars, Ratzel, like many other scholars, was influenced by, Ratzel, like many other scholars, was influenced by the concept of Herbert Spencer. Ratzel, like many other scholars, was influenced by the concept of Herbert Spencer. There is an R to it. Herbert Spencer. Regarding the similarities of human societies, regarding the similarities of human societies to regarding the similarities of human societies to किसको compare किया? To an organism. To an organism. Full stop. He attempted to show state. Very important point. He attempted to show state as an organism. He attempted to show state as an organism, comma, which should either grow or die. Which should either grow or die and can never stand still. And can never stand still. Full stop. When a state extends its border at the expense of, when the state extends its border at the expense of other states, when the state expands its border at the expense of other state, there is a reflection of internal strength. This is expense. E-X-P-E-N-S-E, expense. Expense of other state, comma, there is the reflection of internal strength. Full stop. Next point. Strong states must have room to grow. Next point. Strong states must have room to grow. ठीक है? Strong states के पास क्या होना चाहिए? They should have a liberty to grow, and definitely when they will go, they will take over the other states' areas, right? So strong states must have room to grow in order to survive. In order to survive. Full stop. state is a piece of humanity. Every state is a piece of humanity and a portion of earth. And out of this concept, what developed? The concept of living space. This concept was given by Hitler, the concept of living space, and which is in Germany, or in German what it is known as Lebensraum. Write down the spelling Leben. He developed the concept of Lebensraum. 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 Full stop. He contended that, means contented means he admitted that, he contended that the superior people must have the right. He contended that the superior people must have the right to expand. He contended that the superior people must have the right to enlarge their living space, at the expense of inferior neighbors. He admitted that the superior society, or write down, he contended that superior people must have the right to enlarge their living space at the expense of inferior neighbors. Ratzel appeared to have believed in what may be called, Ratzel appeared to have believed in what may be called racial superiority. Racial superiority. और ये आइडिया किससे ऑपोजिट था? हम्बोल्ट से. हम्बोल्ट ने क्या बोला था कि सारे मैन क्या हैं? They are same. All the men, what Humboldt has said, Humboldt's assertion that all races of men had a common origin and no race was necessarily inferior to others. Right? That is what Humboldt. So in fact, you can develop, you can also write a question on it, that state the difference between the ideologies of Ratzel and Humboldt approach towards human race. Okay, this is your question. Please write down this. Think what you can write more on this. Sochiye. How would you frame it? And it is also said that Ratzel, because he developed two concepts like anthropogeography and political geography. So in this case, it is said that he has converted the geography from the physical geography and human geography to what? Social morphology. Or social morphology, who is to take? Durkheim. Okay. So Ratzel attempted anthropogeography and political geography to change geography from inventory to an explanatory science, invited a reduction of geography to social morphology. Right. So you can also add these points. Please write down this question and state how would you develop on this. Have you gone through them? Yes, all the students. I've given that note to you. I think it will it will be uploaded by the team very soon, Ishan. So all the notes will be uploaded. Just give 1 or 2 days. You can see, maybe by tomorrow only you will be able to see in your portal. Okay. So give 1 more day, and then you will be start reflecting on your portal all the notes. I think Soumya, you have taken the printed copies from me, right? So can you just go through them right now? The portion of the Radsel which has been written over there, you'll be able to understand it very clearly. Okay, there's a concept of a social Darwinism which has been also given by him, Radsel. So if in case social Darwinism terms come in the examination, though you don't get confused by the term, it's just another term which has been given. So the meaning is same. So what does the social Darwinism says? It says that so you know that the approach of how Radsel was. So he was quite influenced by the Darwin. So what he said, Radsel was influenced by Darwin's theory of evolution of species. He applied the Darwin's concept to the human society, which suggests that human beings must struggle to survive in particular environment as much as plant and animals do. So just like animals and plants, they're applying their methodologies, they're applying all these things in the environment. Similarly, they're striving for their space in the environment. Similarly, the humans are also figuring out how to maintain, how to make their own space in the environment, and they are quite competitive about this. So this concept is known as what? This is known as social Darwinism. इसी concept को क्या कहते हैं? Social Darwinism कहते हैं, right? So do not get confused when you see this term. If you want to write the definition, you can write that too. लिख लीजिए. Add on this social Darwinism. लिखिए. He applied Darwin concept to human society. He applied Darwin concept to human societies, which suggests that the group of human beings must struggle survive in a particular environment. They should struggle to survive in a particular environment as much as plants and animals do. This is known as social Darwinism. Okay. We have written the concept of political geography, wherein he is comparing the state to organism. He said that state, like some simple organism, must either grow or die and can never stand still. It was a philosophy of Levinstrom, living space, which created a controversy of superior and inferior races by claiming that superior people, nations, has the right to expand their territory, living space at the expense of inferior labor. It was Radsel who tried to build a fundamental unity in diversity. The controversy regarding dichotomy between physical and human geography started during the Radsel. We'll study about this add on this point. The dichotomy between the physical and human geography started during the Radsel time. So that's all about Radsel. Now another geographer that I have to introduce of that time was Albert Penck. It was Albert Hettner and Penck. Okay, first write about the Alfred Hettner and Albert Penck. Who was he? Who were they? They were also what? I told you about Alfred Hettner. He also developed the concept of regional geography. And Albert, you know, he was very popular, who has given the theory of, he has also given the landform evolution theory, just like Davis, who was based out of America. So write down first about Alfred Hettner. He was during the time period of 1859, exactly the same time he was born when the Karl Ritter died. Alfred Hettner, he was born in the same year in which the Karl Ritter died, or Alexander von Humboldt died. Write down 1859 to 1941. That was the timeline. He was a disciple of Richthofen. Alfred Hettner was a disciple of Ratzel and Richthofen. Full stop. He was also essentially a physical and regional geographer. He was also essentially a physical and regional geographer. Full stop. He wrote research papers. He wrote research papers after extensive travels. He wrote, what was his viewpoint? He wrote research papers after extensive travel. He wrote research paper after extensive travel, full stop. His book, Europe, was published in 1907. His book, Europe, was published in, his book, Europe, was published in 1907. 1907. According to him, geography is chronological science. According to him, geography is chronological science. According to him, geography is chronological science. Or it is a study of regions. Or it is a study of regions. This is CH. This is CH. CHORO logical. Chorological. CHORO logical. Chorological science. Geography was chorological science, or the study of regions. He elaborated the phenomena of. He elaborated the importance of. He elaborated the importance of distribution of phenomena. He elaborated the importance of distribution of phenomena and stressed the significance of regional geography. Hettner claimed that geography is ideographic. Ideographic means if you're talking about some place, so that you call it as ideographic. So ideographic and monotheic, two words you will hear a lot, or you will read a lot in these kind of books. Write down geography. He considered geography as ideographic, bracket में लिखेंगे regional, rather than monothetic. Monothetic means general. So they consider is more of as the ideographic rather than general. Next. In his opinion, distinctive subject of geography. In his opinion, the distinctive subject of geography was the knowledge of earth areas as they differ from each other. And the men is considered as the integral part of it. And men is considered as the integral part of it. Okay. Just hold on. Okay, so you can do one more thing. You can write further few points on Alfred Hettner. Okay, so I'll be giving you some few more points. Just see if all the points have been written, and in case some points have not been written, then you can definitely include in that. So I'll be reading out the main contributor associated with chronology in geography. Chronology means regional study. So chronology in geography was Alfred Hettner. He was a German geographer. He studied geography. He studied that geography should. He stated that geography should be studied as first point differences between regions, that you should study the differences between the various regions. And second, he also talked about the spatial arrangement of phenomena on earth, right? Next is Hector considered a geography a chronological science, that we have already mentioned, no need to mention it, meaning science considered with places and region. Another important scholar linked to chronology is Richard Hartshorne, who later expanded Hettner's idea in modern geography. That's it. So this is all we have to mention in Alfred Hettner. I think the points have been clearly mentioned. Okay. The next point that you can add on, the next geographer that you can mention is Albrecht Penck. I think we have already done a lot on the Penck. Write down Albrecht Penck. Albrecht Penck. Write down Albrecht Penck. Albrecht Penck. The next scholar that we have is Albrecht Penck. Write down. He was a leading German geographer. He was a leading German geographer of the 20th century. Do you understand? Do you remember from the very initial stages of the chapters, initial stages of the section that we did in the Davis and Albrecht Penck differences that we were doing in the landform evolution? What I told you, Albrecht का जो approach था towards the study was quite complicated, complex tha. Therefore, it was not that as popularized as Davis was, because Davis could be read very easily by the masses, but Albrecht ka jo process tha, the words he was using was quite difficult, and therefore he could not reach to the various people, right? So the idea could not reach to the various people. So write down. Albert Speck was a leading German geographer of early part of 20th century. Write down in points quickly. Albert Speck was a leading German geographer of the early part of the 20th century who elaborated on the concept of geomorphology. Full stop. He was associated with the Edward Swiss. He was also a geographer. In fact, a geologist. He was associated with the Edward Swiss, who prepared the maps of major geological regions of the world. He founded the principles of landform evolution, and he showed how the systematic study of the features can be approached from regional point of view. Okay. So Penck has also deduced some of the climatical classifications also he did. Climate of different places also he could deduce only on the basis of the landforms at that point of time जहाँ पे meteorological data नहीं हुआ करते थे. So that how extensive, how refined he was in the study of the geography. So what he did, Penck postulated the hypothesis that the classification of climates can be made. He postulated the hypothesis that classification of climates can be made with the help of study of landforms, even when where the meteorological data were not available. He was the first to point out that evaporation increases with the higher temperature. जैसे जैसे आप evaporation कैसे बढ़ता जाएगा, higher temperature के साथ बढ़ता जाएगा. He was the one who stated that. Next, what else he added? He also pointed out the effective rainfall. He also pointed out that the effective rainfall. Okay, that's all. Now, clearly states the conclusion of this. Write down. Conclusion likhiye. Now we have done the Germans and the French both. So you have to please revise it. Go back and revise. When you go back, अभी आप कैसे पढ़ेंगे? पहले आप पढ़ेंगे. You will study the classical foundation, which has been done by Karl Ritter and the Alexander von Humboldt. पहले आप वो पढ़ेंगे. Modern classical geography. Classical modern geography you will study. Then you will study what? The Darwinism theory. Then you will study what? The French and Germans. So then you will be able to understand कि ठीक है, ये part is covered. These are all the modern part, but then you have to create the links. So write down conclusion. In brief, the recent researchers are less oriented towards. In brief, the recent researchers are less oriented towards description and regional analysis and they are more concentrated towards explanation with general perspective. Okay, so you can also deduce देखिए आपका कैसे French में और German geographers में क्या difference था. You can talk about Vidal J. Blablache, you can talk about Jean Brunis, and then you can also talk about all these Ratzel, etc. ठीक है, जब आप ये पढ़ेंगे, so tomorrow I will do the American and British geographers together. तो आपका कल ये portion खत्म हो जाएगा. Then finally we will be talking about 2-3 main things. For example, अच्छा हमें मैकेंडर भी करना है इसके अंदर. 2-3 main things. For example, आप differences देखेंगे अब क्या क्या concept जैसे quantitative revolution आया तो why it came, why what was the need of the quantitative revolution, क्या changes की quantitative revolution ने. Then आपके ideologies में जो difference है. For example, what is the difference between environmental determinism and environmental possibilism? What is the difference between behavioral geography and what is the difference between physical geography, human geography? ये सारा आपका क्या है, dichotomy है कि एक जगह आप ये कह रहे हैं, एक जगह आप ये कह रहे हैं. कुछ there is a school of thought which is supporting that, there is another school of thought which is supporting other, and they both are right at their own place because they both have the fair evidences to prove, right, to state their theories, etc. And then they have the different examples also. Now the point is, इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? We called it as a dualism concept. जहाँ पे हम we are perplexed what is right and what is wrong. So we have to bring in what we have to. और पिछली बार भी अगर if you see the UPSC का PYQ geography optional का, you will see lot of questions on the basis of that. बहुत सारे questions आपको वहाँ से मिल जाएंगे. In fact 2025 का जो मेंस का पेपर है वहाँ पे भी ये क्वेश्चन आपका बहुत ही क्लियरली मेंशन्ड है. So the point here is that you have to understand that while you are doing it, आपका पर्पस फुलफिल होना चाहिए. अब ऐसे डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा कि स्टेट द कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ, हार्डली आ सकता है. अगर it comes in the exam, that good for you. अगर नहीं आता है then they will ask, they will take a certain excerpt from it और फिर आपसे पूछा जाएगा कि he has stated it on what basis, or discuss, or stated in brief, something like that they will say. So वहां से excerpt निकाल के वहां से आपसे पूछा जाएगा, so that you should know the पूरा concept. जैसे the social, explain the concept of social Darwinism of Ratzel. आप पढ़ के गए हैं पूरा Ratzel का, पर इसने पूछ लिया सिर्फ एक पर्टिकुलर पोर्शन जो है social Darwinism, तो आपको इसी पे इसी के अराउंड elaborate करना पड़ेगा. तो इतना कंटेंट आपके पास होना चाहिए कि आप इस पे अच्छे से 250 वर्ड्स लिख पाए. अदरवाइज व्हाट विल हैपन, आप कुछ और बताएंगे, ये पूछ कुछ और रहे हैं, आप कुछ आप एंथ्रोपो ज्योग्राफी के बारे में अलग से बता रहे हैं. बेसिकली ही इज आस्किंग अबाउट द obviously anthropogeography का भी थोड़ा concept लगेगा, but he's mainly talking about the Radsel का theory, how he compared the state with to an organism, and how he talked about the expansion of the state and how the way they are expanding and they are competing, and the way they are competing, the superior races are expanding on the behest of the inferior races. So this is what you have to do. So this all has to be come in a sync. ऐसे नहीं है कि आपको क्वेश्चन कुछ और पूछा है, आंसर आप कुछ और दे रहे हैं. तो इन दैट पे आपको डिटेल स्टडी करनी पड़ेगी, तभी इट इज सेड दैट दिस इज व्हाई इट इज एन ऑप्शनल, क्योंकि आपको हर चीज को एक बहुत ही डिटेल मैनर में पढ़ना पड़ेगा. अदरवाइज तो आप क्वेश्चंस देखिए, आप लिख सकते हैं उसके आंसर, क्वेश्चंस देखने में इतने टफ नहीं लगते हैं, बट द पॉइंट इज when you talk about the particular point of it, particular aspect of this theory, तो आपको एक्सप्लेन करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. अगर आप कंट्रीब्यूशन का अगर क्वेश्चन आ गया, then it's very excellent for you. Give the German contribution of the German geographers in what is the contribution of German geographers in geography or in the human geography. Then you will filter out the people who have given the contribution in human geography. You can clearly write about that. उसमें you have a scope to write a lot because you have huge content available. पर यहाँ पे क्या है, you are given a limited scope to write on the social Darwinism. तो आपको social Darwinism पे लिखना है, तो you have a very limited scope. You can only write about it or around it. ठीक है, but no, you cannot just beat around the bush in order to just fill the page. So that is what my concept है. इसलिए मैं बोल रही हूँ थोड़ा elaborate करके पढ़िए, थोड़ा डिटेल में पढ़िए, so that you should have a enough. हर एक जोग्राफर का एक बुक का नेम याद रखिए, उनका टाइमलाइन याद करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. टाइमलाइन से आपको हेल्प मिल जाता है थोड़ा मेमोराइज करने में. दैट्स इट. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट यू हैव टू लर्न इट बाय हार्ट, बट एक आपको आइडिया होता है कि अच्छा ठीक है, ये इसके बाद आया था इससे, तो यू कैन इजीली, इवन इफ यू डू नॉट रिमेंबर इट वर्ड बाय वर्ड, you can still elaborate even if you just miss the link between whatever you have read about something. So if you know the crux of something, you can easily elaborate in your own words. That is the point. So now what you have to do, आप जाएंगे यूपीएससी पीवाईक्यू के क्वेश्चन देखेंगे, गो बैक जो मैंने क्वेश्चन दिए हैं आपको दो, वो करेंगे, यूपीएससी के पीवाईक्यू देखेंगे, वहां पे ये देखेंगे इसमें से सिंक करके कौन कौन से क्वेश्चन आए हुए हैं. जर्मन पे, अमेरिकन और ब्रिटिश छोड़ दीजिए, जो हमें क्वांटिटेटिव एवोल्यूशन, बिहेवियर, वो सब करना है वो छोड़ दीजिए. जस्ट फोकस ऑन दीज टू. ठीक है, फोकस ऑन दीज, एंड इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट जस्ट लेट मी नो. Okay. All right, Soumya, please write down your query if you have any. I'm waiting. Text करिए या फिर आप you can write down in the message, or you can switch on your mic and ask me. Okay, so Soumya is saying all clear, Ishan is saying all clear. All right, thank you so much, class 10.